Welcome to Ask Gwen, everyone. Today with me I have Rock, and today we're actually using a totally different platform than Uber Conference or Zoom. We're actually using the platform called SquadCast that Rock actually developed. So I'm happy that I get to be the honored and privileged interview here because I want to talk to Rock about why he developed SquadCast. So if you like podcasting and tech, stick around. If you just want to hear the generalized questions, you're more than welcome to that. But SquadCast has saved my life, even though there's several different platforms. SquadCast is something to not sneeze about, and even though SquadCast is a little bit in the woodwork, it's now getting pulled out from the dark corners of the universe because people also used to Zoom. They are not used to SquadCast. So without further ado, I'm going to Rock, take it away. Well, you're welcome. And so, what? Let's cut to the meat and potatoes here and face the elephant in the room. What made you invent Squadcast? I mean, how long has Squadcast been in existence, and what made you decide to go away from the Zooms, away from the Uber conference, which don't get me wrong, they're wonderful, but and especially during the pandemic, Zoom has saved all of us. But um, when it comes, and now I hate to say this, when it comes to the internet being squished by Zoom bombs and Zoom classrooms and everything Zoom, the audio gets bad. So I'm like, okay, there's got to be a different way. And different podcasters who know me, have told me about Squadcast. So I reach out to you guys, and I'm like, okay, help me out here because I'm stuck. I was the millions of zoomies, bommies, and it's like I'm stuck. I need a different platform. So what made you invent this beautiful platform we're sitting on today? 2020 and 2021. Yeah. Yeah, and as we record this on January 5th, I'm actually sitting in a hotel room. For those of you that follow me on Facebook and follow the podcast, you pretty much figured out what happened. But I'm super happy that I don't have, at least right now, I don't have the tinny sound of Skype because I'm like, I'm in a hotel room. There's Wi-Fi going up and down, and every person, every time in Dick and Harry is on this Wi-Fi, and so I'm like, I, I personally, most podcasters love this Skype. I personally don't like Skype. I got away from Skype many, many years ago now. It's like, hello, we don't need the tinny conversation. And I was talking about digital nomads this morning, and I said one of the things they said is that you on StreamYard is that you should probably plug into the wall where your internet is. But with SquadCast, and I haven't gotten any feedback on a SquadCast episode yet because people are so used to that tinny, Skypey, and I hate to be blunt, but tinny, Skypey garbage that is coming out of Skype. And I'm sorry to the makers of Skype, Microsoft, but yeah, we got to get over the tinny Skypey sound. Yeah. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it that Microsoft is using the competition because they use the big. I love it. I love it. That's the plot twist of all plot twists. See, I told you maybe the CEO of Zoom would get on the bandwagon soon. Although Zoom is a wonderful, Zoom has saved everyone in 2020. But no, no, it's not. It's not their focus. I wish so many people, and maybe listening to our Quinn, so many people would come over and figure it out because this is great. And so, what was your biggest lesson in the pandemic that you learned in 2020? I can't wait to see what you guys do, and I'm happy to assist you guys in um, creating the ultimate SquadCast. I'm happy to assist you guys in create. I'm happy to help anyone create the products because I love it. It works for me with my disability, and my biggest thing is the universal design, and my biggest thing is disability awareness. So I'm happy to beta test whatever you guys need me to beta test. I say that publicly, and I say that during this recording, and that goes for anyone. If anyone wants to throw me a podcasting software and say, "Win, help us from a disabled standpoint do this," I would be more than happy to. And so, what well, you're welcome. So, what is the most exciting thing you're going to do after the pandemic? Will you, what are you most excited to go back to? And I want to know business and personally. I mean, we can go into it all. Exactly. It's so funny because I have been and will be working from home. And it's so funny because when I get out to where I'm going to land up, which I know you guys just don't know, there's a plot twist to where I'm going. And so when I get to where I'm going to land up, I'm moving, but you guys don't know where I'm moving to as we record this. But I think it's going to be a little bit strange for me to be in a big city because I'm so used to being landlocked, even though I love other humans, don't get me wrong, I'm the social butterfly. So I think all in all, 2020 was hard, was very, was very, very hard on the extroverts because we want to be in the same room with people. We want to hug people. We want to um, be in the same room with people. And it's like, okay, you have to limit your social distancing. So I agree with you, Mark, about exercise and doing a gym situation. And I know a little bit about Subak Do, and Subak Do is similar. subox dough is something you can't do social distancing, no matter no matter how hard you try. So Brazilian traditional, you can't do social distancing, and no matter how hard you try. Nope. Nope. And so, if you had to meet a famous person, dead or alive, who would that be? Oh, well, that's no, all great choices. No, that's okay. So that that's a new question for 2021, you guys, and it's like, okay, let's slow people good. Well, let's mix it up a little bit. You who have been around me long enough know my old questions, and so let's mix it up just a little bit. And so, if you had to walk in one person's shoes for a day, who would that be? Yeah, exactly, and be working with someone who the in is in the shoes, and then maybe you can teach them a lesson or two about technology. They talk about being technology illiterate, and half these foreign workers, half these migrant workers may not even know what a laptop is, quite frankly. And we're sitting here in the privileged America thinking, oh, our first world problems when we don't have internet or heat. And it's like, no, those are not first world problems. First world problems are not going hungry. First, those are not world problems. Those are first world problems. World problems are going hungry for the day. because you got sick and couldn't work the fields or couldn't do what you needed to do to feed your family. It's it's absolutely incredible what I have witnessed over my lifetime and what I have witnessed. I work with, I mean, Mexican population up here is huge, and it's like okay, the half of Colorado is either in construction or they're in something else. But the fact that we all have our ways of all overcoming stuff is amazing to me. And the fact that we can overcome stuff is amazing to me. So, as we wrap this interview up, do you have any questions for me? Well, it comes from me being disabled, quite frankly, and me using technology that is easy for me to use. I have learned, I've been knowing to take people's phones with permission, and I have I have said, here, here's a podcast. I've asked people, and people know this by now. I've asked people, what's your favorite subject matter? And they say Down syndrome, they say gardening, they say farming, they say finances. I had a friend say finances to me. I shot her back, I don't know, 10 finance podcasts. And she goes, wow, this is this is something that I need to learn. And she and I are still friends. But I feel like because I've had my own challenges, I feel like it's better to connect with the audience and not make it so cookie cutter and not make it so squared, because I was being the published author that I am, now being the podcaster that I am, I was put in that position of I was being interviewed way back when my book came out, and my book is available on Amazon. You guys, I Come a Win, and all my other books available on Amazon. And I was being interviewed, and the interviewer went so cut and dry with me. I thought, okay, when I start a podcast or when I start uh interview based YouTube channel, I'm like, no, it's not going to be cut and dry. It's not going to, we ask these questions. We're just going to go with the flow and go with the conversation. Well, well, you're welcome for saying that, and people know this by now. I consider myself the kitchen table interviewer, and it's like not like I've done this first time out of the shoot. I've done over 1,500 episodes on my one podcast, Ask Win, and it's gonna be amazing once I get to a better space and have more. This is just the beginning, you guys. Once I have more of a clear understanding of, okay, my office is my office, I can set up how I want. And so it's going, things are looking up, and things are, there's better things to come. And you guys never know. You guys we may have a little bit of a fan party, all depending on how COVID goes, and all depending on how everything goes. But it's going to be Ask Win. It's going to remain the same, and it's going to be always the kitchen table conversations. And pull up, sit down, and I don't care if you're driving, walking, cooking in the kitchen, listening to it on the Amazon smart speaker or the Google Mini or the Apple HomePod Mini. Or I don't care, but it's always going to be the kitchen table conversation, because, as I told Locke, I was stuck in that position of cut and dry, and I just decided, no, that's not for me. It's still right, and there is a huge announcement that I'm working on behind the scenes. I didn't realize that it's coming to fruition. I didn't realize that it's coming, but there is a huge announcement, and I may need to enlist my fan base to help me here, because I don't know. Was it going? I have some idea, but I may need to enlist my fan base to help me. But as soon as you guys know what it is, you will figure out. But Locke, where can people find you, and where can people get a hold of SquadCast if they choose to do so, which I hope they do. Mm. Yeah, we hope that this opened up your podcasting horizons, so to speak. And I got thrown SquadCast by another podcaster, a friend of mine who lives in Utah, and I'm like, I was a guest on her podcast, Travel Gluten Free by Alacrity, and she SquadCast, and I'm like, SquadCast? What's that? And she goes, Lynn, it's a very cool process. I felt like I was living in a rock in the lake. I'm like, ooh, because as I said, I'm so used to Zoom and and Skype and everything else that I didn't know SquadCast existed until I was the guest on the other side of mine. So I appreciate Locke coming on and opening up the horizons to better podcasting sound in 2021. And if you guys haven't started a podcast yet, you probably should. And you can talk to me, you can talk to Rock, you can talk to any of us, and we'll be happy to help. As they say, yesterday was the best time to start something, and then goes to the day. Today is the day to start a podcast or a YouTube channel or just do some sort of media, because people now need it in 2021 to bring them hope and bring them inspiration. And so, if you want to step up your game, SquadCast is the way to do it. Thanks, you guys. Bye, you guys.
Well, hi, Wayne. Thank you so much for the kind words. Thank you so much for having me on your show. It's an honor, and I'm really happy that SquadCast is helping you out with your show. That's the whole point, is really to give podcasters the ability to connect with their guests, no matter where they are in the world, and still sound like it was recorded in an actual studio. So yeah, really happy to be here, and big fan of all things podcasting, tech, and entrepreneurship. So big fan of what you're doing with your show. So thanks again for having me on. Let's do it. Yeah, well, honestly, we ran into the same problems as you. We wanted to create a podcast with a team that was distributed all across California, and thought that it would be a relatively easy task, at least when it came to the technology. We thought the content creation and creating the podcast, the actual content, it would be the difficult part. But what we realized was that, like you said, a lot of the state of the art tools weren't really catered for podcasters. I mean, Zoom and Uber Conference, they're great for what they were built for, which is to connect people for chat or video chat. But really, when it comes to recording that content in the highest quality possible, we felt like they were really missing the bar. And we really did our research to figure out, okay, well, what are podcasters using? And a lot of them felt like you, Win, where they use Skype, they use Zoom, they use Uber Conference, and it was good enough, but we felt like there was still something missing in the space. And thankfully, it's not just me who's working on the product in the company. I started the company with my friend from high school, Zach, who's our CEO, who really had the idea for SquadCast. He was the one that wanted to create the podcast and stumbled upon this problem. And then after a little bit of time feeling really discouraged, thought, well, this is actually an opportunity to use my skills as a software developer. And then he reached out to me, who, again, we'd known each other since high school, and he knew that my background was in accounting and finance, and pitched me the idea for what today is SquadCast. That was back in fall of 2016. The SquadCast has been used by podcasters since 2017. And, we're really grateful that we've been able to help folks stay connected, keep their production on schedule, especially when everyone's having to be remote, 2020 and 2021 now, it's looking like, unfortunately. So, yeah, I know. So we just felt like, not everyone's going to have access to a studio or have the ability to have their guests join them in the studio, but they're still going to want to have the conversations like we're having now. So we wanted to create this virtual studio experience so that you can connect and have a great conversation, and it still sounds good. It doesn't have that Skypey Zoom sound that you mentioned earlier, where you really are reliant on the internet connection, which unfortunately is not constant. It goes up and down like a wave, so to speak. And that's where those kind of disturbing sounds can kind of get introduced. And with SquadCast, we developed it in a way that the quality of the conversation is not dependent on the internet connection. Of course, you need an internet connection to connect and have a conversation, but the quality of the recording is independent of that. And so really excited that some of our early hypotheses were correct, and just really grateful to be a part of the podcast community. I'm sure, as you know, it's a really open and vibrant community full of a bunch of people like you and me who just have a lot of inspiration and ambition, and just are figuring it out as we go. And we just couldn't ask for a better fit for a market to cater to. Couldn't agree with you more. I've ran in and talked with plenty of podcasters that are very happy with their Skype setup, which is totally fine. We're not saying that this is that you have to do it, but we just feel like as the podcasting industry continues to grow and evolve and attract new listeners, that quality is going to be a really easy way for you as the podcaster to separate yourself from the rest of the shows in your category. And it's something that's actually in your control. So we just wanted to give podcasters the tools that were built specifically for podcasting, whereas Skype, is not. And I got a little plot twist for you. Microsoft is a customer of SquadCast. They use their to record their CTO's podcast. They use SquadCast, not Skype, and and they're happy. Well, thank you. Oh yeah, yeah. Not here to talk crap about the what they do. It's just they're not there. That's not their focus. It's different. Yeah, I think the biggest lesson for me as like a founder, entrepreneur was figuring out how to hire people. So we started Squadcast with, in addition to Zach and me as the co-founders, we have a total founding team is what we call ourselves of 5 people. And so for the first 3 years of this journey, 3 to 4 years of the journey, it was just us 5 working on Squadcast, really trying to grow the product or build the product, grow the brand, the company, all that stuff. And at the beginning of 2020 is when we first all were able to pay everyone a salary. Zach and I had actually been working on the company full time for about a year and a half, going without a salary just because we had customers, we had momentum, we didn't have enough to pay ourselves a reasonable salary, but we figured it's time to go all in and really ride this out as far as we can and just take it, not that we weren't taking it seriously, but just go all in on it. But 2020 was a big year because we were able to pay the rest of our founding team salaries and everyone was working full time on Squadcast. But with the growth that we had in 2020, which was pretty tremendous, quite frankly, we definitely were planning on hiring folks. And so that was really the thing that I'm the most proud of, but it did not come without its challenges. We learned a lot of our hiring practices and processes based on making mistakes at first. So, we weren't perfect, but what I am proud of is that we learned pretty quickly and we figured out a way to identify talent that's a good fit for the company, that Squadcast is a good fit for them and what they're looking for. And so I think we're going into 2021 really with a lot of momentum and knowing how to continue hiring in the way that we've done. So that's what I'm really excited about, is like just bringing on more people to help us realize our mission and vision for where we want to take it. I mean, we're extremely proud of where we've come since 2016, but there's still so many things that podcasters really could use. And we can't wait to have that available in Squadcast. One of the things is like, yeah, well, thank you. Well, thank you. That means a lot. So yeah, all right, happy to. So I think business wise, I think, a big way that we've built our reputation and relationships in the podcasting space is going to events like Podcast Movement and Podfest and a few of the other smaller size ones. So, as much as the travel kind of can wear you down. I do miss that feeling of getting to talk and connect with podcasters directly. As much as I love being remote, and SquadCast is a remote tool, so we're definitely embrace that kind of way of collaborating and working. There's nothing like being in a room of podcasters and just having all these types of really fun conversations. So from a business standpoint, I am looking forward to that, especially now that we have grown our team and our team is remote, that those events will be a good way for all of our team to be in the same room and have a lot of fun, and do big dinners and stuff like that. So that'll be huge because we've only had us five up until this point. So now bringing on the other four or five that we've recently hired, and however many we hire throughout the year to win it, when we actually do get in the same room again, that's going to be really special. Personally, I'm a big martial arts fan and practitioner. So I train Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, which is like the most unsocial distance thing you can do. So unfortunately, that's been something I haven't really been able to do in quite some time. And it's really, for me, I've been used to working from home remotely for about 4 years now. And sometimes the only time I would actually talk to other people or have other human connection or contact was when I go to train jujitsu. And so like, that's been a huge bummer for me, but obviously, it's we're all kind of dealing with it. So I don't, yeah. Ooh, another one. Yeah, it's impossible. Nope. Hmm. Oh man, there's so many that come to mind. I mean, I think right now it would be really interesting to talk to someone like Elon Musk or Mark Cuban, someone that's kind of, a really courageous entrepreneur and business person. But, I feel like talking to people that, aren't with us anymore, like a Abraham Lincoln or Martin Luther King, someone that's from a completely different time zone, or maybe like, someone back in the medieval or Roman days, so let's go with Leonardo da Vinci. He was a really impressive dude for his time. So I'll go with Da Vinci. I'm sorry it took me a while. I was trying to make it important. Awesome. Good for you. Yeah, I think it would be someone who does like manual labor, so maybe like someone that works in like a farmer working in the fields, or even like someone that works in like an Amazon warehouse, just because like I feel really privileged and lucky to be in the position I am, working on a company, on a product in a space that I absolutely love. I'm a huge fan of podcasting. I should have said that from the beginning, that when Zach proposed the idea for SquadCast, it was super easy for me to get excited about, A, because I was looking to make a move that was more independent and entrepreneurial, but also I was a huge fan of podcasting as a listener, and I didn't understand why it wasn't more popular back in 2016. Fortunately, now it's getting a lot more popularity, so that's really good. But I think I just sometimes I get bogged down in my own little world of like, I just want things to be better, and I have this like kind of insatiable appetite for progress and growth, but I forget like how privileged I am to be in the position I am. And I think like walking in the shoes of someone that does like manual labor for, far less pay, far less like, you know, we're not grateful enough to those people, I think, and they really work really hard. And so I think like I did do some form of manual labor when I was in high school. I worked in construction. I also worked at a restaurant. So I know what it's like to have your body be the way that you make money. But I do find myself kind of losing sight of that and like getting really down on just because things with the business or my life aren't progressing or growing as fast as I want. But like I'm getting better at it, but I always have to like pull myself out of that and be like, everything you want is like happening, or you're doing everything you can to make it happen. Like it's great. Like you should just be happy, be a little bit happy, be a little bit nicer to yourself. Because I do feel very, very, very privileged to be here today speaking with you. So I think reminding myself of what it's like to be that real blue collar, hardworking American is something that's important. Very true. Exactly. Right. Absolutely. Yeah. I just think about like, my girlfriend's parents, they're hardworking people, and, just have a great mindset and work ethic, and really just like really high integrity people. And so I just think about them and other people like them that, I just like, it's almost like they're, just, it's a different world in some ways than what I'm living. So, but, I just always like to remind myself that like, no matter how hard you think you have it, there's always somebody that's worked harder and had to go through more. Like, like you said, people that are coming from this country that, don't even know English, but still figure out a way to thrive and prosper. Like it's incredible. Right. Yeah, you seem to be very in tune with your audience. Like, where is that something you've always that came natural to you? Or a lot of podcasters, I think they forget about the audience. They're trying to make the show easy and accommodating for their guests, which is a good thing. We totally agree with that. And SquadCast tries to make it super easy for your guests to join and just have a great conversation and not have to worry about the tech or anything like that. And we certainly want the podcaster feeling confident and sounding great, but oftentimes the audience I feel like is gets left out of that equation, and that's why you see podcasters kind of using tools that they're just familiar or comfortable with, like Skype or Zoom. But like we talked about, the audio quality suffers, and who's losing in that equation? It's the audience, and it seems like you really have a good finger on the pulse of who your audience is and how to connect with them. And I really admire and just want to know, like, where's that come from? Mm. Mm. That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. I think a lot of podcasters can learn that from you. And honestly, I kind of made the mistake of Zach and I also have a podcast where we interview people in the podcast space that are doing amazing and cool things. So actually, we'd love to have you on. You'd be a perfect candidate. But when I first started, I would have a very rigid script of questions and want to get through them all. And within the first three episodes, Zach and I realized, like, it's good to have a little bit of questions. It's certainly very important to do research on your guests to make them feel special, to find those stories and topics that maybe you haven't heard yet, especially if they're like a more well-known or famous guest. Like, you don't want to hear the same interview that you heard another podcaster just interview them on. So I do, we definitely promote doing your homework, doing your research, and having some idea of what you want to ask and where you want the podcast to go. But you're absolutely right. Like, it does not feel good, because I've been a guest on podcasts where it's very rigid and it's like, question one, okay, got that. Question two. Whereas with you, it's very apparent that, like, okay, you do have a list of questions, but there's so much of this conversational aspect that you add that really makes it a fun experience. So I had a great time. Thank you. Well, I have full faith that I'm certainly not going to bet against you, especially with your track record. I have full faith that you're going to do whatever you set your mind to, and it's going to be great. So, thank you. Yeah, absolutely. So the best place to find all things SquadCast is at squadcast.fm. So again, that's squadcast.fm. There you can learn more about the product, about our company. We have a ton of resources to help you be a better podcaster, especially when it comes to remote podcasting. That's definitely our forte. You can get our podcast there as well. But we're also very active on the social media platforms, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and I'm also on Twitter. That's mainly where I hang out at Rockwell Felder. But the best place is certainly you can always start at squadcast.fm. We have a really great support team that's always available, and they can certainly connect you with me, Zach, or anybody else that you want to get a hold of. So look forward to talking with you. Oh, cool. Thank you so much, Win. And thank you to the listener for listening to this episode. I really appreciate it.